Welcome to WidgetMe. This powerful tool can help you create rich media for the web and stick them anywhere. This tutorial will discuss more about the basic tools and user interface of WidgetMe. So let's get started. So let's first take a look at the layout of the user interface for WidgetMe. At the top, you have the page panel, where you can select the foreground, pages, or the background, as well as add or delete pages. You can also arrange the pages in a certain order, as well as see the thumbnails of each page to better organize your widget. Let's go ahead and add a few pages. At the very bottom is the property panel, where you can adjust the properties of the objects and tools that you're using when editing and creating your widgets. Depending on the tool you're using, the property panel will adjust to display the possible properties for that tool. Also on the property panel, you can see how you can change the size of your widget, so let's go ahead and make our widgets a little larger to 400 by 300. Maybe that's a little too big, but alright, let's change it back to 400 by 250. Plus, here we can change the background color to say maybe red. Notice how all the pages are affected by this. Let's change it back to white now. On the left is the toolbox. All the tools and special content you would like to use and add to your widget are found in the toolbox. So let's have a closer look at our tools and let's create a basic rudimentary widget from scratch. At the top section of the toolbox are the selection and hand tools, which you can use to select and adjust the objects around or to move your widget around so you can better see it. Let's take a look at how these tools work. So let's select the oval tool and then drag a shape on our page. Notice that the oval, only a quarter of it's on the page. Therefore, only a quarter of it will be in the final widget display. Now, let's add in a rectangle. And then here is an important part about WidgetMe. We can layer our objects on our pages by using the layer window. Using the up or down keys, we can either move the objects up or down in the layers, so either my objects appear behind or in front of each other on that page. The higher the object is in the list, the higher the layer is on that page. Plus, under the Properties panel, we can adjust the colors as well as the transparency of objects. Let's change the color of this rectangle to a greenish color, and then let's change the color of the oval to blue. Then, let's change the oval's transparency to 50%. Do you notice the change between the oval and the rectangle? The third section of the toolbox is where we can import our own media, such as MP3 or WAV sounds for music or sound effects, add videos in the format of SWF or FLV, or import images in the formats of JPEG, PNG, or GIF. Notice we have several default materials here, such as audio, flash, images, iWidget videos, and videos. You can always create your own materials and import them into your scenes, but make sure you check out all the tons of default materials. They're really cool. Let's add in a video of a wacky man. Let's open it up and add in the video. Then under the Properties panel, we can browse to find the video we're looking for. Now, like with other objects, we can position it or size it to however large we want it to be. With videos, we can decide how many times it will play or if it will automatically begin once the page starts. Set to 0 if we want it to continuously loop, or 1 if we want it to play once. I will just set the video to play continuously and set it at 0. If we want our viewers to have a choice to play again or to see the progress of the video, we can choose to allow the play bar to be displayed or not. Plus, we can decide if the video will automatically play or not. If you select yes, then as soon as the page is open, then the video will begin to play. If you say no, then the video will not start until the user presses play. Okay, let's delete all this and let's make a widget using some of the cool default materials that come with WidgetMe. So now I want to create a new widget, so let's get started by looking at the background. We can add an image to give a good look and feel to our widgets. Under the default materials, notice that we have images, go into background, and then notice we have several different types of backgrounds, so let's add in a snowy scene. Notice we can resize the image manually, or we can directly choose its size at the bottom left. Since my widget size is 400 by 250, I will change the image to fit that size, then move the image into position. Now let's take one step back and let's add something to our foreground. We want to have the text that is always present and always higher layer than any of the other objects on my pages. So the best place to put that message is on the foreground. I will use the Type tool to add in some text. At the bottom, in the Properties panel, we can add in and edit the message. Plus, we can change the color. Let's change the color to blue. And also we can change the font size and the alignment as well. Let's also add in some special effects by adding in a flash effect of snow. Since the snow effect is on the foreground, it will appear on all the pages. So let's go to our default materials, go to Flash, Special Effects. We don't want it to be too distracting from the rest of our materials on our pages, so we can change the transparency so it won't be too overbearing. Now is a good chance to preview our widget to see how it will currently look to our viewers. So let's press the preview button and the widget will pop up. Looks pretty good, but notice the text message at the top. Blue doesn't seem to work very well with our selected background. So let's close the widget and go back to our foreground, select our text and change the color to white. It's still there, it's white now. Let's take a look at page 1 and let's add in another image. This time we can use a prop. So let's go to our default materials and again look at the material effects. The possibilities are endless, there are so many. But let's just use the Christmas presents, they look pretty cool. So let's add them into our scene, resize it to be a little smaller, and then we can use the Align panel to position the image to the exact position within the relative size of the widget. So let's place it here, no, not in the middle, let's place it a little lower, that's good. Alright, I want to show you a really cool feature of WidgetMe. While still selecting the image of the Christmas presents, I can then give this present an action for a user to click on it. Go to the Link panel, and here we can give the action of Switch Page, and choose Page 2. Therefore, when the user clicks on the present, the widget will switch to Page 2 within the widget. So let's take a look at Page 2, and let's add in a button. Notice under the Properties panel, we can change the name of the button for our own reference, or we can change the text in the button to say whatever we like. I think we'll just type in web page. Then under the Link panel, let's give the action of the URL. And then you can just type in the web page here. That way when someone clicks the button, they will be linked back to your web page. Plus, I want to change the color to maybe red, then change the font size. And a really cool feature I can add to it is add in some flash effect to my button. Pretty cool, right? Now let's add in another text about my Christmas party in New York. Adjust the text on the Properties panel, make the font larger, change the color, position it right, get a good alignment. Then let's add in another image of a Christmas tree. So let's go back to our default materials, find the image of the Christmas tree, that's a good one. Alright, now let's resize it and position it correctly. Alright, and let's add in another action to switch the page to page 3. Alright, let's take a look at our final page, page 3, and let's add in a Yahoo map by selecting and dragging it onto the widget. Under the Properties panel, we can say the exact address, but since I don't have an exact address for my party, I'm just going to type in New York City, and there we go. Now is a good chance to preview our widget again and to see how it looks so far to our users. So here we are on page 1, so let's click the presents and go to page 2. Notice how our snow effects continue here on page 2, so we can either click the flashy button and link to my URL, or click on the Christmas tree to see our Yahoo map. So let's go look at the Yahoo map. Alright, looks pretty good to me. Alright, so that's our widget. Let's have a quick review again about our user interface. So at the top is the Page panel. You can view pages, background, foreground, add in pages or delete pages, or you can arrange the pages. Align panel is to help align and position objects in reference of certain positions on the widget workspace depending on the size of the widget. Link panel has certain actions you can assign to the objects inside your widget. For instance, you can have an object, when clicked, to change pages within the widget or link the users to a website by adding in the URL. The Layer panel, which is a list of objects that you have on the present page of the widget, this allows you to select and better organize the content for that particular page of the widget, as well as display which object is behind or in front of the other object in that page. Properties panel is where you can adjust the different parameters of your selected tools or objects. And the toolbox is where you can get all your tools and content, as well as access the awesome default materials. To get more information on the powerful tools of iWidget videos and WidgetMe, please watch the other tutorials.